I think we can all agree that photography can be one of the most expensive hobbies that someone can have. We can spend thousands of euros on camera equipment, on magazines, on books, on drones, on computers to edit our images. But did all this stuff make us better photographers? And I'm no different than anybody else, but if I look back on myself and reflect on all this stuff and think if that made me a better photographer, it didn't. None of this stuff made my photography any better. What did is what I'm going to talk to you about in this video, because the things that I'm going to tell you today, 5 things, they didn't cost me a single euro or dollar or cent. These are just things that anyone can do, and they will improve your photography massively. At least that's what it did to me. So quickly, let's get into the video. So I've put these tips in a more or less random order, so it's not a real top 5 or anything, which one works best or which one works less. It's just because it's a package of these 5 tips that if you combine them, if you get to know them and work with them, you can really improve your photography. And you can leave out 1 or maybe 2, but if you use all these tricks, it will definitely help you become a better photographer. And that's why there's no order in these tips and tricks. So first of all, what I want to tell you about my own situation, if I look back on my gear, I have spent thousands of euros and hours and maybe days or weeks looking on the internet, looking on which lens is the fastest, which lens is the sharpest, and in the end, it doesn't matter. Of course, in a certain detail, it matters, but it doesn't allow you to make better images. It just makes your better images a little bit better, but it doesn't make a bad image become a good image if you're, for instance, using a pro lens instead of a kit lens. It's the same here with magazines. These magazines, they are 9 euros a piece, and I have about 50 of them upstairs. So that's about 500 euros on photography magazines. Did they make me a better photographer? No, I bought them because I wanted to read articles about gear, about stuff, about places and locations that I wanted to go to. The same for these books here. They are all about locations and locations that other people visited, and I just wanted to go there and visit these same spots and make these same images. But did I make these images? No, I didn't, because what's in those books are the ultimate conditions. The people that got there, they took this ultimate shot and the perfect conditions, and I can go to this location maybe 10 or 15 times and come back home without a single decent image. And why is that? It's because I'm trying to copy the work of someone else, and that's why I don't like to go to locations that other people have scouted out. And that's the first tip that I'm giving you. It's tip number 5. Stop planning your trips. And this one really helped for me, because when I plan my trips, I go online. I spend a lot of time searching for images, looking online, thinking to myself, this could be a nice image. Then I'm looking in my photo pills app. Is it sunrise, sunset? Then I'm going to drive there. But the conditions are never as you're seeing in those awesome images on the internet, because people aren't sharing their bad images about a place. They're only sharing the best images of a place. So when I got back home, I was often disappointed because that shoot didn't work. That image that I had in mind just didn't work. And what I want to say with don't plan your images is find your own images. Go out there and try to expand your idea package that's in your backpack, and just allow yourself to adapt to the conditions that you are having on that location, on that day that you're out there. Because you can go around there and think to yourself, there's nothing to shoot here, that image didn't work, I'm going back home. There is always an image to look for, but you just have to adapt to it. And if a wide angle doesn't work, use your telephoto. If that doesn't work, use your macro lens. If that didn't work, for example, go experiment, go do some double exposures, for example. There's always something you can do to make the trip worth it. And to be honest, I've been making these YouTube videos since January 2022. So that's about 1.5 years now. And there's only one trip that I didn't make a video of. And that's because I actually didn't take a single image that trip. I just wasn't feeling it and it just didn't work. But the majority of my trips, I always find something that I think is worth showing to you in my videos. So that's tip number 5 that I wanted to give you. Tip number 4 that I'm giving you is to understand weather. And there are lots of videos on YouTube on what to look for. And there are a lot of apps on weather that you can download or even pay for, but they won't give you the ultimate answer. They won't tell you, you have to do this, you have to do that. And what I was trying to do, I'm creating an area around my house with all different kind of areas that I've been to at least once. And I've scouted these locations out. And I'm just thinking to myself, what kind of weather works for this area? So I'm not the kind of guy that looks on his phone or on his computer the day before and looks, oh, tomorrow is going to be some epic conditions. No, it's not. I just get out of my bed at 4 a.m. at the moment. And the moment I walk out of my door, I look out and I'm thinking, I think this weather will suit this area. And I'm just going there and I will see whatever I can find. And it doesn't really matter what it is. But the moment I step out there, and for example, last week I made an epic video that's coming out in a couple of weeks. There was a day, it was 33 degrees Celsius during the day. But the minute I walked out of the door in the morning, it was 10 degrees. So there was a more than 20-degree temperature drop during the night. And I just know if that happens during the summer months, usually it means that there is some fog above places with water. So I can go to a forest or I can go to a heather area, but there won't be any atmospheric conditions, especially during those hot days in the summer. So I just go to places with little lakes that are a little bit hidden in forest or between some hills where there's no wind, and I can guarantee you that there is some fog at that moment. So just spend some time, look online on YouTube to understand how things work, what temperatures work, and just go to areas more often to know what kind of conditions will occur on certain areas. And that definitely helped me a lot. Tip number 3 that I'm going to give you is to try and fill your backpack with ideas. So don't fill your backpack with locations, but fill it with ideas of what you can shoot when you're on location, and not with one specific subject. If a day doesn't work out with a certain kind of weather, you can go back home and just say, it didn't work out and this day sucked big time. But just try and find something else. Try to find another creative idea to find. Look for a really minimalistic image or an abstract image. Go find the smallest things like macro images. There's always something around that can be interesting on a photograph. And I have tons of books here about locations and how to photograph and which settings you have to use and whatever. And I can honestly tell you that all these books that I have right here, I can throw them away because they are no use for me. I think I didn't learn anything from this book, or at least it didn't make me a better photographer. What did, for example, are books like this from other photographers. And I'm not looking through it like, what is this? Where did he take it? No, I'm just looking at how did he look at this image? What did he use? What techniques did he use to find this image? And that's what I'm just trying to do. I'm trying to take all these ideas from photographers on other people, inspiring people. For example, this book, Ansel Adams, one of the greatest landscape photographers that has probably ever lived. This is maybe the first guy that really got into landscape photography in the beginning of the 19th century or 20th century. I'm always mistaken, but all these images are black and white. They are taken with this big box photograph, and there's an image of him here in this book where he is standing on top of his car. If you I hope you can see it. I will show it to you later. You can see it here. This is the equipment this guy used, and if you go and look through these images that are in here, they are all fascinating in compositions, in ideas, in minimalism, and this guy just finds shots everywhere with a camera that's probably not even close to 1 megapixel that we have today. So all these people saying that you need a 100 megapixel camera, tell that to Ansel Adams, because I think he will not agree with you. But if you buy books, that will cost you money, and I told you these tips will cost you nothing. For example, just go to YouTube, like you're doing now, watching my videos. There are a lot of other photographers that have great ideas, and I have a couple of photographers that I follow myself. And the ones that I do are all very different in their styles. They have very different types of photography. And I did that on purpose because I don't want to see how he photographs. I want to try and learn his techniques. I want to try and use these ideas and store them in my own mind. So when I'm out there, and I have walked out there on a dull day, and I've thought to myself, what would Thomas Heaton have done today? What would he have looked for? Would he have gone back home? No, he would have pushed through and looked for something minimalistic or abstract, for example. And I just always find something. And I'm not saying you have to copy them. You just have to put these ideas in your mind and get them into your own practice. Tip number 2 that I'm giving you is to wait with your processing of your images. And we have all been there, going out for photography, coming back home, uploading your images to your computer, going to that one specific image that you had in mind during your shoot that you thought was so awesome, just doing a quick edit in Lightroom, throwing it out there on Instagram or Facebook, and then the next day you're looking at the same image and you're thinking, oh, that other one was just a little bit sharper than the one I posted yesterday, or the composition was a little bit better, or why did I give it such a look in my editing? I should have done it a little bit different. What I do, and I know this is not for everyone, but I come home, I upload these files to my computer, and I just leave them alone for 3-4 weeks. And it's also because I have so much in stock that I'm processing for these YouTube videos, and I always keep a little gap of 4 to 5 weeks of what I'm recording right now and what I'm releasing on YouTube today. So it's always, what you're seeing is mostly 4 to 5 weeks old. And there's a reason for it, because if I didn't do that, it will give me a lot of stress. I will rush through my images, don't look at them good enough, and I will only look at those images that I had in mind, because if I go back to them in 3 or 4 weeks, all these emotions or the excitement that I had during this photo shoot will have laid down a little bit, and I'm having a much clearer mind to go through my images. And it just really works for me. And I'm taking the time to edit my images. What I'm doing now, after 2 to 3 weeks, I go and select my images, the best ones, so I give them stars. If I did that, then I'm going to edit them. And when I edited all these images, I leave them alone again. And the next day, or maybe 2 days later, I go over them again. And sometimes I'm thinking, oh, I overdid this one a little bit. It's not looking legible anymore. So I go back to it, make some little adjustments, and store it again. And then a few days later, when I start making the YouTube video, if there is a YouTube video of that image, and 99% of my images end up in my YouTube video, so I go to through making the video, and then when I'm putting these photos in the video, I'm still sometimes, I look at it and think, it just doesn't work on the video. This has to be a 16:9 or a different crop or anything. And then I go back to Lightroom, change the edit, put it in the video. So my final images have been processed maybe 2 or 3 times over a period of 3 to 4 weeks. And that really helped me. So at this moment, I'm not releasing stuff because I want to release stuff, because I'm excited about this image. No, I'm only releasing the images that I am happy with, which I looked at a couple of times, and I can honestly say that it rarely happens to me that I release an image right now what I think of should have done or should have been a little bit better. So That's the time that I gave myself, and that's tip number 2. I told you in the beginning of this video that there wasn't a particular order in these tips that I'm sharing with you today. But the tip that I'm giving you right now actually should be on top, and that's why I put it last. My last tip, tip number 1, it's actually very simple. It's get rid of all this gear reviews, these magazines, all these books about locations. The only thing that will help you become a better photographer is to go out there yourself and practice. And this is 100% true for myself. The minute I started going out there more, it just delivered me more opportunities. I could practice with new ideas, and I could do tons of things that I couldn't do earlier because I just didn't take the time for it. But if you go out there, you will definitely produce some new ideas, new images, practice stuff, and you will learn to become a better photographer. And of course you will fail sometimes, but we learn from our mistakes. Next time you're out there, you might think, okay, this weather didn't work for this area, so I'm gonna try a different area. Or I looked for wide angle shots, that didn't work, I'm gonna look for some abstract materials today. Just try to adapt yourself, and you can only do that by going out there yourself. And if I look for myself, recently I spoke to someone and he said to me, I'm in doubt if I'm gonna edit my website today or if I'm gonna go out for photography. Now, for me, it isn't even an option. You know, if I have to choose between those two, I'm always going out for photography. On Wednesdays, like it is today that I'm recording this, I never have a car. My wife works in the office on Wednesdays, so this is the day that I'm at home recording stuff, editing videos, editing photos, doing stuff on my websites. But for the rest of the days, I always leave this stuff for bad weather days or dark winter days. If the sun is set in the evening, I do this kind of stuff. But if I have a car available and there is a decent day of light at that moment, I would always go out there for photography. That's the most important. When you go out and practice, you will become a better photographer. So I'm just 100% positive that if you apply those tips or just a couple of them, it will definitely help you to become a better photographer. There's just no doubt about it. And just go out there, try to get some creative ideas into your mind. And I'm just 100% positive that, that it will work for you. So I hope you liked this video. This Sunday, another episode of my road trip. It's probably one of the last with some epic foggy conditions. So if you would like to see that, make sure to tune in this Sunday. And if you like the video, please push that thumbs up button. It will massively help this channel to grow. And there's also a little subscribe button underneath this video. If you haven't pushed it yet, please push it. You will get a message when I release my next video. And next to the subscribe button, there's also a little notification bell. If you push that and select all, you will get a message from YouTube when I release my next video. And it's totally free. So if you like the channel, please subscribe, please push that little bell. You will massively help this channel. So thanks for watching. I hope to see you this Sunday on another on location video. And for now, bye bye.